The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army. And now, ladies and gentlemen,
we are now about to witness the truth.
It's the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Benjamin Dixon Show. I am your host, Benjamin Dixon. It is Monday, October 30th, 2017. Thanks so much for joining us. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we always appreciate that. We will be taking live callers, 857-600-0518. There's a lot that happened today. Today was pretty eventful, and it may not have been as eventful as some people wanted it to be. I think some folks thought it was going to be more than what it was. Let me make an adjustment here. But still eventful nonetheless, with the indictment of Paul Manafort and the indictment or the pleading guilty of George. I pronounced that man's last name. I always want to call him Stephanopoulos. But the foreign aid, the foreign advisor for Donald Trump during the election, the Mueller investigation sent down several indictments on Friday, and it took the entire weekend. Now, before I go any further, can I just say George Papadopoulos? No, that's not what I wanted to say. Can I just say that it must be nice to be able to walk yourself into the FBI building and turn yourself in on your own terms. Even though what he did, Paul Manafort, what he did got him a $10 million bail and house arrest. Even though what he did was that significant, he got to turn himself in. He got to walk in as though it was just, no big deal. George Papadopoulos was an official in Donald Trump's campaign, and he turned himself in on October 5th, or rather, he pled guilty on October 5th, which is almost a full month away, and since then, oh my goodness, what is this, man? Papadopoulos. What the hell kind of, first of all, what the hell kind of name is that? Who is this dude? What are you, Papado? I'm gonna call this dude Papado, George, whatever the hell his last name is. He was seen going in and out of the special counsel in Bob Mueller's investigation, meeting with him since October 5th, since he pled guilty. Now, the things he pled guilty to was straight out lying to the FBI probe. Yeah, so the audio is clearly coming from somewhere I don't want there. So let me make a quick tweak while we're working. So he has since the beginning been, since October 5th, he has been working with Mueller. And I think, quite honestly, this is where he's going to get Donald Trump. If there's anything on Donald Trump, it's going to come from Paul Manafort turning state. And again, there was 12 charges to his indictment today. Money laundering, which seems to be the most prevalent one, being a registered foreign agent, or incorrectly registering, not registering as a foreign agent. This is in his time, probably when he was a consultant for Turkey and was not properly registered. The thing about that, though, if you think about that, there are other people who have that same problem, right? So it's not going to end with Manafort. Tony Podesta of the Podesta Group, the Democratic-leaning organization, and Tony Podesta resigned today. And he is also likely to face charges of being improperly registered. But we'll get to the Podesta Group in a minute. But with Paul Manafort, there was one charge that a lot of people kind of just went right past and didn't really talk about. The first and foremost charge, which was conspiracy against the United States of America. Now, that can be a litany of things, and that could be the opportunity for collusion. And here's the thing about it. You guys know I run in a lot of different circles. I run in neoliberal circles. I run in progressive circles. I run in socialist circles, extreme left circles, Antifa. I check them out on sundry times. And quite a few of my circles feel like there's absolutely nothing to the Russian investigation. And my thing is, how do you know this? What information do you have other than a statement of faith that you don't think that there's anything to this? Because that's really what you boil down to at this point. You don't think that there's anything to this, but in actuality, all we can do is let this play itself out. And once it plays itself out, then we can find out, was there something to it or not? It could very well end up being nothing to this, right? But we have no more evidence right now in the public space to suggest that there's nothing to this than we have in the public space to say that there's absolutely concrete. What we have in the public space is a lot of lying from the Trump administration, which is in and of itself could become the thing that brings them down. I mean, sometimes it's not even the controversy that you're being accused of that brings you down. It's the lying, the subsequent lying that ends up bringing someone down, and the obstruction of justice. That's one charge. If by the letter of the law, if Donald Trump asking James Comey at that dinner, that infamous dinner, to forget about the issue of Michael Flynn, if by the letter of the law that is obstruction of justice, that in and of itself could be enough to bring down Donald Trump. So my advice to everyone is, let this play itself out. Let's see where it goes, because none of us are in the investigative room. None of us are there with that evidence. And anyone who's making a bold statement in one direction or the other is really making a statement of faith, not based on evidence. And, I only have one place that I do that in. That's religion. That's a religion. I don't have any reason to believe this stuff as a religion. I'm not that bought into this narrative one way or the other. This is like one wonderful place that I could just sit back and actually have full journalistic integrity without any bias competing with the integrity. I mean, I am 100% biased in the progressive direction. I mean, yeah, like I'm not even in this game to try to be an equal side, like the same sides, or what is it? The false equivalencies that the other side is the same. That's not the game. I'm not here for that. You can go to, I don't know, you can go to any number of these outlets for people. I'm 100% about pushing a progressive agenda because I think that's what America needs. And in this case, Russia, I have no horse in this race. I don't care one way or the other. It doesn't move me one way or the other, with the exception of this would be a fascinating turn of events if Donald Trump gets taken down either by his own actions with a possible obstruction of justice with James Comey vis-a-vis Michael Flynn, the Michael Flynn investigation, or Paul Manafort, who has the possibility of 84 years in jail, $10 million bail bond, and he is on house arrest. They had to surrender their passports. I mean, yeah, if he has anything on Donald Trump, you better believe he's getting ready to turn state in no time flat. Let me see, caller. I think I may have this worked out. Caller, you're live on the air. What is your name, comment, and do me a favor, turn down your whatever you're listening to me on, and give me your name, comment, and or a question.
Hey, Ben, it's Bryce. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good, man. You have some, you have a really good timing on your on the delay, but I can hear some echo in the background. But what's on your mind, man?
Echo. I don't got nothing on. I don't know. But anyway, so obviously, they're probably. I think they might end up going to jail or, trying to push themselves out of it, or at least some less time. And that, like you said, it could be the downfall of Trump, because if everybody starts telling and revealing stuff, regardless if Russia was involved or not, or whatever the issues are, somebody going to jail. jail. Like something's going to happen, pretty quickly, and this could be the beginning of the end. And I mean, it was a matter of time.
Yeah.
And then if he tries to get rid of Manafort, then that's obstruction of justice, and it could be a situation where he can get impeached that way, even when like a fast track, in a sense of you're stopping, because he saw his tweets, he's scared to death about what's going on.
Yeah.
So something is up, regardless of what it is. He's scared to death because he's tweeting like he doesn't know what to do.
Right.
And one last point, the whole white evangelists in America, it got to go and got to stop, because we're about to go to war with Iran because of these crazy bastards.
Yeah.
And like we got to stop it somehow, some way.
Hey, thanks so much for the call, Bryce. 857-600-0518 if you want to weigh in on the conversation. We're going to get to white evangelicals in a minute, because that's Buck Wild. I haven't even gotten a chance to start my show properly, man. I wanted to get right into the story, but thanks to all of our patrons for all that you've done, all that you do. And I wanted to pause to thank the patrons, because I have something new coming up that I think is definitely this is going to be interesting. Starting, I don't know if it's going to start this Wednesday. Not sure if it's going to start this Wednesday. Yeah, I'll at least have a preview on this Wednesday. Starting this Wednesday, I'm doing it one weekly. I'm like wondering, where's this coming from? I have my god doggone cell phone connected to our internet radio phone. I'm like, why is that buzzing? So anyway, starting this Wednesday, once a week, I'm doing a new podcast that's like produced like an actual podcast. Like what we do here, I had somebody ask me, Ben, this is not, I have a whole lot of choices of podcasts to choose from. Why would I listen to yours? Well, because I don't do this Benjamin Dixon Show. I don't do this as a podcast. I do this as talk radio. Like we get on the phone with you all. You call, we talk back and forth. But I digress. The point of me even going to this conversation was to pause and say that starting on Wednesday, once a week on Wednesdays, I'm going to drop a fully produced podcast dealing with being a black Christian in a white evangelical America, because there's a fundamental difference between being a black, well, first of all, being black in general, right? But we cover that pretty regularly. But what we don't cover is being a black Christian in a white evangelical America, because when I play this clip tonight of Pat Robertson and some of the clips that I come across of John Hagee and all these super famous and rich white evangelical leaders, it really trips me out that they have a fundamentally different view and experience and expectation here in America, and their expectations have been counter or have been detrimental to black Americans in general. And so as a black Christian, there's a lot of things that we have to answer for. Like how do we worship the same God as these white evangelicals who quite literally have throughout the history of America have been our adversaries on thing after thing after thing, have been our slave masters, have been the implementors of Jim Crow, and have now are the main voices in opposition to Black Lives Matter. So there's a lot that we not only have to answer for, but there's a lot of things that we have to explain, because I don't really have a lot of time to do that on this show the way that I not really would like to. I like the show, the Benjamin Dixon Show, the way it is. I want to cover all the broad range and spectrum of politics here on this show. But Wednesdays, once a week, I'm dropping a full hour podcast, highly produced, with all the bells and whistles that people like in podcasts these days. And you know what I mean? You know what you listen to. And that's going to be targeting exactly that topic, that intersection of being a black religious person, a black Christian, and having to go to church with some white Christians who just as soon believe that Donald Trump is sent by God and Barack Obama was the Antichrist. Like, that's some crazy stuff when you think about it. Caller, you're live on the air. What is your name, comment, and/or question?
Ben, how you doing? It's Patrick Blanc from Miramar calling.
Hey, man. Long time. How's it going, man? Glad to have you on the line. What's on your mind?
Doing all right, Ben. I just wanted to get your take on this, and just to give you my observation to see if you agree.
Okay.
Because I think Fox News has really gone off the deep end. I think it matters in this case.
It does.
Because Fox News to me they've always been conservative, even far right. But now they've come to a point where they're state TV to me. There's no difference between the line that Trump is parroting and what Fox News are telling their viewers.
Yeah.
And I think we in the left have got to stop acting as if they're honest actors.
Yeah.
And there's something that has been bothering me over the years, but it's more pressing it now, in that I think we on the left, we view conservatism as a competing political ideology. We disagree with it. We want to defeat it at the ballot box. But because we view it as a political ideology, we can make concessions to it. We can hear them out and say, okay, you have a point here. But the right doesn't view liberalism as that. They view it as an inherent evil. And they've been indoctrinated over the last 30, 40 years that because it's an inherent evil, any concession made to it is a sort of complicity with immorality.
Yeah.
And this is why there isn't any overture we can make that they'll come over, because it's not just a competing political ideology. To them, it's accepting a sense of immorality. And where that becomes relevant here is that what you were saying on your other show with your co-host is that Fox News can't concede any point. They can't.
Right.
Even if it's blatantly true.
Right.
They can't distort from their narrative. And we think, well, their narrative is purely monetarily based for their donors. I think, of course, is that.
Yeah.
I think there's a larger point is that because of their indoctrination and not being able to concede to the left on any point, they're going to defend it even though it's blatantly obvious. And I'd like to get your take on that. I'll see your call off there. It's good to talk to you again.
Hey, good to talk to you, man. Glad to have you on the line. 857-600-0518 if you want to weigh in on the discussion. Yeah, Pat, you said a mouthful right there. I'm not even sure how is. You ever have something work and you're not really sure why it's working, because it technically shouldn't be working, but it is. So I'm not going to ask you questions. Pat, you hit something on the head here, right? Here is a problem that we have to be willing to fight with. That's the key thing. It's all or nothing for conservatism. All or nothing. See, we look at neoliberalism as the greatest threat from the progressive side, right? We look at neoliberalism as the greatest threat, but like we are actually starting to get concessions from corporate Dems. Not many. It's not, the fight's not won. It's not over, right? It could be a sleight of hand, but we actually have corporate Dems talking about Medicare for all. That's progress. With conservatism, the caller, Pat, longtime supporter of the show, is 100% accurate. They are on some dominionism / Christian Zionism / totalitarianism, and every single one of those words means something very specific and something unique. But when you combine those together, it is an all or none scorched earth game with them. They think the world would be better if liberalism, progressivism, and anything that's not 100% neatly fit inside of their ideology, they think that we should be removed from the face of the earth. Or at least have our constitutional rights removed, right? You have Roy Moore out of Alabama, who believes that the First Amendment was literally just for Christians, right? So this is an all or nothing scorched earth game for them, and they don't believe in coexistence. There's a clip of Paula White who. This is a fundamental difference, man. This upcoming podcast, I want you guys to sign up for it and subscribe, and I'm going to treat it as a whole different entity. But it's so important because this is a fundamental difference between most black Christians and this vein of white evangelical Christianity in America. Paula White, who's a spiritual advisor to Donald Trump, Paula White said that, we're not here to blend in. We're here to take over, saying that Christianity is here in America to take over. It's a matter of legality. They are here to change America into a theocracy. And so this is something totally different than most black Christians in America who believe in liberation theology, or maybe they just believe in God, right? We're not here. We already know. This is the unique difference. We already know what it's like to be on the side of the oppressed. We know what it is to be oppressed. So there's nothing that's in us, for the most part. There's always exceptions to the rule, but there's very little inside of black Christians who want to dominate and oppress and be the ruling power in America at the expense of the freedoms and the liberties of everyone else. This is literally what dominionism is about in the United States, and this is how they can excuse everything that Donald Trump does, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how evil of a man or how disgusting or debased of a man he is, or how lewd and lascivious he actually is, because all that matters is that he is the tool that's ushering in their domination. That's some dangerous stuff. And whereas I wouldn't say that the majority of white evangelicals as individuals believe that, when you have people like John Hagee and you have people like Paula White who are sitting in these positions of influence over a large swath of people preaching that ideology day in and day out, that is as dangerous, and that is quite literally what fuels this totalitarian all or nothing move by the Republican Party, by conservatism. It's mixed with religious dogma, and that's what gives them they feel like the legitimacy and the right. They feel like ordained by God, and that anything that does not conform to that worldview 100% is the devil and morally bankrupt and has to be purged. That's how they could look at a person as, I mean, it's not going to be popular with some of my audience, but milquetoast is Barack Obama, who was as non-threatening as Barack Obama. I mean, he was as bland of a black person in power as you can get. This is what Michael Eric Dyson said. He was like the Hank Aaron, right? He was as black as the times would permit. He was as progressive as the times could handle, because they still think Barack Obama was a socialist, right? And as milquetoast and bland, he's a great speaker and all those good things, but he was non-threatening from an American systems level, right? He was non-threatening to the American domestic policy. He wasn't going to overturn the Wall Street. He wasn't going to seize the means of production in the United States. He wasn't going to nationalize the banks. He wasn't going to do anything like that. And yet and still, they saw that he was the greatest threat to American democracy and liberty and to Christianity. They felt this was a man who went to church. This was a man who, if he ever had any indiscretion on Michelle Obama, nobody has ever heard about it, right? He was a family man. He was everything that you would expect a Christian type person to be. And yet you have this vein of republicanism, evangelicalism, this vein of Christian conservatism politics that viewed him as the literal, the spawn of Satan. That is the mindset that the caller was talking about. That is what we're up against. And while I feel it's important for us to continue hammering corporate Democrats for power, we can't take our eyes off of this threat that is in power. The people that are in power think like this. Let's take this caller. Caller, you're live on the air. What is your name, comment, and or question?
Hi, I'm Samson.
Samson, what's on your mind?
Live right now?
Yeah, you're live right now. What's on your mind, my friend?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about today's revelations about the Russia story, and there's this fever on some portions of the left, even up to today right now. They still deny that there is any proof, there is no collusion, and in fact, if some of them are saying that it's Hillary that's the one that is colluding with Russia right now. I was just checking Jim Ross' feed. He says Hillary colluded with Russia to go against Trump. That's what he's saying right now. And this is the guy that did not believe against any collusion. And then I must call out, people don't want to call out The Intercept, the Glenn Greenwald. These guys have been, any fair guy, any person that is fair knows that the Intercept has been they have gone out of their way to excuse Trump on this Russian matter, and anyone that cannot say that with a clear truth has a biased agenda. From the beginning, these guys have excused Trump out of every single step they have given Trump a leeway. But if it was Clinton, I remember how hard they went against her for any speech she did, everything. Glenn Greenwald is a hypocrite, and damn any liberal that doesn't call them out. Man, look at me. Man, they don't mention anything, Michael Tracy, nothing. But man, you know, if this was Hillary, I remember during the campaign, every single thing they went after this woman. My question is, do the same standard for Donald Trump? That's my question. Glenn Greenwald is a fraud. Look at his Twitter right now. He's saying shit. He's still giving excuses. Well, is this, is that. It's bullshit, man. My only thing I say is, uphold the same standard to the two of them. That's all I ask. If you say this is bad for Hillary, it should be bad for Trump. That's the only thing I ask for.
Amen.
Have the same standard, because it pisses me off the mental gymnastics these people do, man. I literally believe if they see Trump with a smoking gun, it always comes back to Hillary, their hatred for Hillary. Hillary is done. Who gives a damn about Hillary? I'm like, why are we talking about Hillary uranium? What the hell?
Hey, it's Samson. Hang on, Samson. Samson, I gotta cut you off real quick, because didn't you call and do the same exact thing last time? You went off so good, I had to ask where you're from. Haven't you called before?
Yeah.
Yeah, where are you from? Nigeria?
I'm calling. Yeah, but I'm from Hungary.
Hungary, okay. Yeah. So this is your second time calling.
I'm from Nigeria, but I'm calling from Hungary.
So every time you call, you do this, and I appreciate your calls because you don't hold it back and you always bring something to the conversation. So go ahead and finish your thought, because you're actually doing it. But I had to make sure I'm talking to the same guy. Finish your thought. Give me 30 seconds and finish your thought.
Yeah. Yes, so I just wanted you to call that mental gymnastics. I like you because you rightfully call out Peter Dow on his extremism and he's calling Bernie Sanders supporters, Bernie Bros and the rest. So I call out Peter Dow, but also call out the Glenn Greenwalds and Michael Tracy's. These guys are purposefully obtuse. They are not fair actors in this case. So please call them both out. Call out the Jimmy Dawes and call out the Joy Reid too. That's all I ask. Be fair, because these guys, they are not fair. So thank you for your time and the touch on that.
Hey, thanks for the call, man. You trying to get me in trouble, man. Thanks for the call. But no, I'm going to answer. Follow me up on air. I got to disconnect the call for the next caller. But you trying to get me in trouble, man. And the only reason I say that is because, like, you know, in the Twitter world, I'm friends with Glenn Greenwald. The professional world, I did some work for the Intercept. But in terms of everything that you said, in this regard, in this space, they drive me crazy. They do. Glenn, I'm sorry. You drive me crazy. Hell, bring on the show, maybe we'll talk about it. But, I mean, that entire team, man, you talk about civil liberties or free speech, you know, the Zed, the Lee Fong. I've had Lee on the show. I've had Zed. I have the entire crew on the show. And, man, they're driving me crazy. Like, the double standard well, actually, I think Lee is kind of quiet. Or maybe I just muted him on my timeline. Maybe that's what it was. But they do make a lot of exceptions. It's not just that. True. He called out Michael Tracy. That's absolutely true. They are all, and I'm trying to see the source of it. I'm more interested in knowing the source of this, right? But they are they make unnecessary exceptions for Trump that, to be redundant, are completely unnecessary, right? And I think they do it in the name of journalistic integrity, but I think they missed the boat on this one. I think they definitely missed the boat on this, because in this case, you do not, you know, here's what it is. Here's what it is. And this may not be fair, and I may be wrong, but I don't think I am. If your knee-jerk reaction to things tells me more than anything that you say, where is your initial tendency always fall? And what do I mean like that? If every time somebody says something negative about Donald Trump, your initial reaction is to find a way find a way to disagree with it, even if it's a tacit disagreement, or even if it's a silent, or not a silent because they always open their mouth, a tacit disagreement, or a technical disagreement, or, you know, intellectual jujitsu, not even intellectual, but rhetorical jujitsu, right? They find a way to distract, to deflect. It's like whataboutisms, you know, it's to colloquy. It's all kind of techniques that I've seen from people like Michael Tracy. And this morning I saw one from Glenn, and I'm like, hey guys, listen, here's the deal. Jeremy Scahill too. Love them all. May never do work with them again for other reasons, but I may. But the truth of the matter is, if you really don't have a race in this horse, a horse in this race, if you really don't have a horse in this race, then just let this thing play itself out, right? Just report the news. This is like literally one of the few places where those of us who don't like Trump and don't like the Democratic establishment, this is like one of the places where we literally can sit back and report the news. And that's it. Report the headline. Or are you saying are we saying that we disagree with Mueller's decision to charge Manafort? How then? What is the basis of your disagreement? Are we disagreeing on the entire Russian probe into Donald Trump? Then how can you be so confident? And this is for everybody. Now, I'm moving on from the Intercept boys, because my main contention with them, we can argue about this to the end of the world. I don't give a damn, you know, deal or no deal, work with you in the future or never work with you in the future. But that bullshit about this overabundance of protection of the speech of Nazis, and then I check your timeline when other people lose their right to speech and you don't say a damn thing. That right there, that's a whole different ball of wax for me. But setting that aside and moving beyond them, because I don't even have to finish that sentence. But the point is, for everyone, how can you state with such certainty that there's nothing to this Russia story? How? There's so many different avenues of opportunities where this actually could be a thing. And because of the nature of the legal system and the high standard of having to prove your case, and then if you can't prove your case, you may never bring a case, there's a possibility that all of those possibilities of opportunities for actual something and charges could just poof and be nothing, right? It could be either or. And both are realistic possibilities at this point, that those of us who are not inside of this investigation have nothing to support it one way or the other. So the only real journalistic integrity thing here to do is report the news, and let it play itself out. That's it. Now, when I saw the emails from Don Jr., I'm like, this is getting interesting. This is like the first thing that I've seen in public that makes me believe that this actually could be a real thing, right? But does it rise to the legal level of collusion? I have no idea. I'm not an attorney, one, and two, I don't have access to all of the information. So it's very possible that it could be collusion, and it's just as possible from our vantage point, from our perspective, from where we're looking. It's very possible that it could be collusion or not be collusion. But all these people are getting on their high horses, and just as much as it's aggravating to see people who swear up and down that Trump got indicted today, there is that level of stupidity that reigns. But likewise, there's this level of absurdity, of overconfidence from people on the left that most of you are either Twitter friends. I'm in a Twitter DM with you, and sometimes I'm just quiet. I'm like, there they go again. I wish Twitter didn't always notify people when you read emails, because I just be reading them like, there they go again. And I know y'all be reading, like, Ben be in this DM, don't say nothing. That's right, because I'm just, kick me out. Or because most of the time, a lot of stuff that's being said around me, I'm like, man, I don't even have the energy to argue with y'all today. I don't. How is Oh, let's go back to Joy Reid. He said something about Joy Reid. Joy Reid works my last nerves on a lot of issues. I would say 99.9999% of the stuff that she talks about, because she has promoted before I go there, this is the thing. It's like the reaction to the absurdity has created an absurdity in and of itself. The reaction to the absurdity of corporate Democrats talking points and hysteria, the Red Scare, you know, because it has been pretty absurd, right? From between Rachel Maddow losing her damn mind on some nights and Joy-Ann Reid early on fueling the Red Scare on her Saturday and Sunday morning show. And it was getting quite absurd. It's like the reaction has been an overdose of antibodies, right? It's like this has been up here is where, let's start here. My microphone, if you're looking right here at my chest, is normal. This is like, you know, my chest, my goddamn chin. I ain't got no. My students from back in the day are laughing their asses off if they're seeing this and watching this. I need a laugh track. Oh my God, I just clowned myself so hard. Oh my God, I just cracked on myself so hard, and I won't. It's so bad I won't even repeat it. Holy God. Okay, I'm gonna try this again. Let me bring it back in, because that was ridiculous. Whew. The reaction to Russia and the absurdity of the Red Scare that was fomented by liberal media and the Democratic Party, because it was good politics and it was good for ratings. Great politics. I actually kind of agree with the politics, because it strangled the political life of Donald Trump. And I'm sorry, we actually needed that. Okay, so from the political perspective, if this is what we had to do to stop Donald Trump in his tracks, and you see all of the things that Donald Trump has tried to do, I think politically, a masterpiece that we needed. Thank you. Because otherwise, Donald Trump would have had free reign to do whatever he wanted. We would have had the repeal of Obamacare, but he can't even get to that because he's struggling with Russia. We would have had, I don't think we would have had the travel ban, because the judges made the decisions that they made, but all of his other agenda items have been completely choked out by this Russia scandal. So politically, it has been a 100% advantageous tool that we did not have any other means of stopping the Republican onslaught. And so if people are, from that perspective, politically, it was necessary. And good job, Democrats, because otherwise, think about what Donald Trump could have accomplished in the last year. I mean, we're almost at 1 full year since the election, 10 months, 11 months since he took office. Donald Trump could have really hurt America even more than he already has. All right. But now the reaction was pretty absurd, right? Not the political, but the media coverage was pretty absurd. The Joy-Ann Reids, the only person I think on MSNBC at night that didn't lose their goddamn mind was All In with Chris Hayes, and he kind of floated around. But the Rachel Maddows, lost their minds. And so the left, progressive lefts, the Glenn Greenwalds of the world, the progressive circles, other names escape me right now, but you guys know exactly who I'm talking about. They tried and they took a principled position of opposition to the opposition to Trump. The anti-Trumpers is basically what they're called. The people who are anti-Trump, right? So they took this position, and for a while it yielded pretty good analyses, right? It exposed a lot of hypocrisies and a lot of fatuousness, a lot of silliness that existed in the media, liberal media. It became super easy to critique them because they were sloppy and they were almost childish with the Red Scare, and then it became dangerous. But now it's almost like they got stuck there. Right. And this is why I say all the time, and I hope you guys are following me tonight, because I'm all over the place, but it all ties together. But a while ago, I said on the show that it's important that you never get stuck in any place, and that you're always a consistent traveler, that you move from one monument to the next. And by that, I meant, when you find yourself interested and believing and feeling and all absorbed in a particular ideology, a particular argument, a particular worldview, you know, it becomes easy to stay there. You build monuments there. You build entire arguments there. You build debate points there. You write out your responses. You know, it becomes your world, right? The dangerous thing about that is if you stay there too long, you become you miss the forest for the trees. You don't miss the change. You don't miss what's next. And it's important for you to be flexible enough to move. This is like a really philosophical life kind of thing, but it's true, and it's very evident here in the sense that you had people who took principled opposition to the opposition of Trump, not for the sake of supporting Trump, right? It's not that binary, but for the sake of trying to hold the most powerful people in media and in the political opposition party, hold them accountable to the techniques that they use for opposition. And in a sense, it could be a very principled stance, but it's almost like, yeah, this is where you guys were for the last 11 months. And now you're missing the point, right? You're missing the point because now it's like everything that you say is becoming almost as reactionary. It's becoming as absurd. It's becoming as ridiculous as you're becoming a version of the monster that you are opposing. And this is the best way. Okay, so instead of trying to use analogies or whatever, let me just make it plain. In their attempt to hold liberal media accountable, progressives and leftists and libertarians and people like at The Intercept and other outlets, they held a principled opposition to the opposition of Trump. And now I think they're stuck there. I think that they don't know how to do anything else besides that, because everything they do is like a knee-jerk reaction. It's like, oh, liberal media says something, I got to find a way to oppose it, you know, because liberal media has been so ridiculous all this time, they couldn't possibly be right? Well, no, because as ridiculous, I can't believe I made this thing come full circle. Damn, I'm good. As ridiculous as Joy Reid is, that's where I started. I'm right back where I started. Yeah, give me an applause. As ridiculous as Joy Ann Reid is, as much as she fueled this Red Scare hysteria, as wrong as I think she's been, and as much as she, you know, just made me lose even more hair during the election because of how insidious her narratives and the things I just don't, you know, she's been a mess. People love her, but I can see right through it. As much as a mess as she is, she actually had a segment last week on the Uranium One deal that is actually spot on. And so if I stayed in my hyper critique of Joy Ann Reid, because 99% of the time I'm probably right, if I stayed there, then I would have ran headlong into a piece that she did on Uranium One that she's actually right about. And I would have rejected it. For many reasons, and I think that's what we have to understand is like we have to recognize our own implicit biases, man. That's like the bottom line. The bottom line is every single one of us has implicit biases. We're biased. We bring things to the conversation that jade the lens through which we see the world, right? And if your lens through which you see the world is Hillary Clinton is the devil, or Hillary Clinton is the evil, Hillary Clinton is the wrong one, Hillary Clinton is the corrupt one, Hillary Clinton represents the status quo and she's therefore the wrong, you know, all these things. If your entire lens for the last year has been Hillary Clinton is the challenge, this is how you lost. This is how H.A. Goodman lost his mind. This is how H.A. Goodman went from being, you know, he just could not fathom how oh, mother, please tell me, how do I live in a world where I can't oppose Hillary Clinton? You know, this is how people literally start losing their mind, because they could not adjust to the fact that everything you built your criticism around, everything you built your talking points around, you built your entire platform around opposing Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton is no longer here. Fox News. This goes back to the other caller. If you stayed with me at this point, I'm blessing you at this point. because it all connects together. I'm not as lost as sometimes I feel. Fox News is exactly the same, except they are intentionally doing this, right? Whereas leftists and progressives who find themselves in this uncomfortable place where they're used to criticizing the Democratic establishment so much, and they're used to criticizing Hillary Clinton so much, and they're used to criticizing the opposition to Donald Trump vis-a-vis the Russian scare, they find themselves in a precarious position because they're uncomfortable shifting away from being in that opposition to the opposition. It didn't happen on purpose for progressives and leftists, I don't believe. But for Fox News, it's 100% on purpose. This is their brand. This is how they make their money. This is how they get them coins. They get it by finding any kind of way possible to make the next 4 years about Hillary Clinton. And she's not even in office. And this is why people make the accusation that, well, your behaviors, some of you at the Intercept and some of you who are, like Michael Tracy over at the Young Turks, and some of you people who are stuck on this monument of opposition to the opposition and opposition to Hillary Clinton. You're stuck on that monument. Maybe it's not on purpose, but to us, the actions become the same, and the fruit and what you produce, what you say is almost word for word what you're going to get from Fox News. And we all know Fox News is doing it on purpose. And so that's why you get accused every now and then of just parroting right-wing talking points. You sound just like, Julian Assange. He sounds just like Fox News now. He's, some things that you find on Michael Tracy timeline, he sounds just like Sean Hannity sometimes. It's like, my God, what the hell is going on here? And it's not because you guys happen to be right together. It means it's because you're both wrong, but you're both wrong for different reasons. I think it took a principled stance to be the opposition to the opposition, but you guys have missed the boat. And there's a shift in some of the things that are happening now. And if you get stuck there in this world of opposition to the opposition and opposition to Hillary Clinton, then you're going to end up sounding as ridiculous as the propagandists over at Fox News, who have no other choice, because they've crafted their entire platform than to make the next 4 years as though the greatest threat to America is the woman who's in the woods with Bigfoot shopping in the grocery stores. And then people are going to craft. I'm running out of time. I might not even have time to talk about Pat Roberts, right? Pat Robertson. People are going to craft and create this to seem as though, no, Ben, you're missing it. Hillary Clinton is still powerful. Hillary Clinton is still running things. Yeah. Okay. All right. Folks, the Democratic Party is making moves away from Hillary Clinton. Barack Obama is still powerful. Barack Obama is still powerful. Hillary Clinton is not powerful. I mean, you want to know case in point? Let's look at the dramatic drop, if we even see donations this year, to the Clinton Foundation, because their entire brand is irrelevant now. But people have to convince themselves that Hillary Clinton is the hand behind everything else. And I'm like, man, Hillary's gone. She's irrelevant. Now, the piece, I can't just breeze past this because I know people are going to be like, oh, Ben, you said Joy Ann Reid was right about Uranium One. You're goddamn right she's right about Uranium One. Where have you been? Where have you been? If you had been on my show last week, you would have seen me. She did it in 2 minutes because, she probably took my notes. yeah, whatever. I'm trying to make myself feel good here. But she did it in like a minute and a half. I did a whole show on it. And I went item by item in that article by The Hill. And the article by The Hill that started this entire Uranium One story again, that Donald Trump tweeted about, that Julian Assange tweeted about, and it got so big, the young, not so big, but it became hook, line, and sinker, right? The Young Turks picked it up, and they were like, this is at a minimum, this is an example of, no. I mean, if you took your time to read through these arguments and to use the same skeptical lens that you've used to break apart. That's all I got right now. To break apart this opposition to Trump, this mindless, senseless opposition to Trump. If you use those same critical lenses that you use to deconstruct, that's what I was looking for. This opposition to Trump, Why can't you use it on this article? Why? Because you're bringing implicit biases to the conversation and you just don't like Hillary Clinton? Or this is something that feeds your audience pretty good, the Young Turks? I mean, yeah, it's easy for you to talk about it because your audience, YouTube loves that. YouTube is the domain. Why do you think my numbers are always so low here on YouTube? YouTube is the domain of the anti-Hillary Clinton no matter what. And I can't go there. I'm sorry. I can't. I cannot go to the place where I'm anti-Hillary Clinton no matter what. I'm anti-Hillary Clinton on the things that she should be opposed on, the things that she was wrong on. And now I'm anti-talk about Hillary Clinton because she's irrelevant. Why are you talking about it? It's irrelevant. With Donald Trump, you see how ridiculous it is for the president of the United States to still be talking about the Democrats, the House should be focusing on Hillary Clinton. Why? It's so absurd that Corey Lewandowski, he used to be, was he campaign manager for Donald Trump? He was on CNN the other day, last week, and he spoke of the need for Congress to investigate the Clinton administration. I'm sorry, guys, there is no Clinton administration, but they've created this derangement in the Trump administration and in Fox News because that's what they're paid to do. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is paid to be a liar, a professional lies. A professional liar. She right, a master of half-truths. That's what Sarah Huckabee Sanders is paid to do. But you have other people who are inadvertently doing the same thing because in their mind they cannot figure out how the hell am I going to exist when everything that I created, everything that I worked on for the last year and the last 2 years has been in complete and total opposition to Hillary Clinton. Man, some of y'all need some post-Hillary Clinton, postpartum depression from Hillary Clinton. Like, y'all done gave birth to the Trump administration, and I was like, y'all don't know what the hell to do. Y'all feel lost and empty on the inside because you no longer are carrying that baby. Oh, sweet Jesus. Sweet Christmas, man. I don't know if I finished my train of thought, but I hope you got the picture, right? I'm not going into Uranium One. If you want to know why I think Joy Ann Reid was right on Uranium One, go to my episode last week entitled Uranium One. I took an entire hour to do it, and Joy Ann Reid was right. She probably is wrong right now. Somewhere she's tweeting something that's wrong that should be clapped back against, right? And she blocked me, so I wouldn't even know. She's probably wrong right now. She's probably sitting at home eating dinner saying something that's stupid, but she wasn't wrong about the Uranium One deal. All right, let me play this fool. This dumb Pat Robertson, man. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't want to blame. I don't want to be an ageist, but Pat Robertson, man, this is what he had to say about the Manafort. This is what he had to say about the investigation today.
Manafort is an easy target, if I can use that term. He has clearly been an agent of foreign governments. They have paid him huge amounts of money. And the chances are he hasn't appropriately registered as an agent. And so there's a technical violation that they could get him on. And that may be what they're going after, and then one of his aides.
Watch this.
But as far as the White House, not a chance. And there's, again, an op-ed today in the newspaper about what the president's power is. He can grant a pardon to everybody involved in this thing if he wants to.
Huh, really?
And there's no such thing as the president obstructing justice if he talks to one of his people in the Justice Department. They're part of the administration's force. That's his side of the aisle under the Constitution.
All right, so here is one of the largest, most influential evangelicals. I don't know, he's not a pastor, but he has an entire news network, the 700 Club, saying that the president of the United States should pardon everybody. Basically, I mean, he's actually going to say it expressly. Hang on, let's keep listening because it's coming up here. Hang on, don't let me tell you about it. Listen to him.
So this whole thing has got to be shut down, and I think they've got what they call the fruit of the poisonous tree.
Okay, that's where he started talking about the piece that they got from. But anyway, but he said the entire thing needs to be shut down, and he's calling on the president to use his pardoning power to shut this entire thing down. This is what we're dealing with. This is what the last caller was, or the second to last caller, Pat, was talking about. Because To them, this is the just thing to do for the president of the United States to shut this entire investigation down. Fire Bob Mueller and pardon everyone, or pardon everyone and then fire Bob Mueller, right? They think that this is the right and the just moral thing to do, and for him not to do it is exposing America to the great... they have no respect for justice, for the Justice Department. They have no, for due process. They have no respect for anything except for their particular perverted ideology. Everything else is an abomination. Everything else is an affront to their morality. Everything else is an anathema to them. They could not, they no more want to coexist with people who don't believe what they believe, people who don't conform to their political ideology, than ISIS. And you can quote me on that. They are the Christian jihadists. The only thing is that most of them try, they have the luxury. I was just getting ready to say, most of them try to eschew violence, but they have the luxury of this imperialistic military being at their beckoning call. The advancement of America's empire abroad tends to be on the exact same side as they are. But if they did not have political power, if they did not have military power because of the synergies of their ideologies or the similarities of their ideologies, they would be some of the most violent people you've seen in the world. And they'd be doing it all in the name of God. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm going to reply to a couple of comments on Twitter. Have you noticed that the Democratic Party is still the Clinton Party? I haven't noticed. They aren't. They are still the Barack Obama Party. Look how Hillbots got Bernie removed from women's conference. That's why people still think about her. It's not the Hill. I think you guys are mistaking that it is. The person who still has power in the Democratic Party, the person that people still want to see, the person that got Tom Perez in power, that is Barack Obama. And think about it, guys. That's really how it should be, right? In the sense, not in terms of right and wrong, but in terms of how this thing works. It's Barack Obama's party still. He was a very popular president. The party lost to the Republican Party, so there's no new person to replace him. Had Hillary Clinton won or Bernie Sanders won, then it would be Hillary Clinton's party or Bernie Sanders' party, but it's not. It's Barack Obama's party still. He's still the most powerful person. So, I mean, everything that they're attributing to Hillary Clinton, I think people don't understand how unpopular Hillary Clinton really is. Guys, she's literally unpopular. I'm not talking about figuratively. I'm not talking of a figure of speech here. I think her polling number back a month ago was lower than Donald Trump's. So that means there's a lot of Democrats who don't like Hillary Clinton, right? And I'm not saying that this should be a game of how unpopular can Hillary Clinton be, but I want us to put this in perspective. Hillary Clinton does not have power because nobody, I mean, who really, except the people who took the ashes of their mother and stuck their fingers in the ashes of their mother and wrote in or put a checkbox by the name of Hillary Clinton so that their mother who died. This is actually a real thing, and I'm really an asshole for making fun of this dude because it's really hilariously sad. But so that his mother could vote for Hillary Clinton. Besides those people who are actually deranged, many of them who aren't even stable enough to actually be influential in the Democratic Party, besides them, Hillary Clinton's not popular. Hillary Clinton's not popular. I mean, yes, there's going to be some residuals. I'm not saying that she's powerless. I'm not saying that she's powerless, but I think people are over-exaggerating her influence and her capacity to make things happen in America, that she quite literally doesn't have enough political pull anymore to make some of these things happen that people are accusing her of. And if it makes you feel better, just think of her as Bloody Mary. The more you say her name, the more likely she's going to show up. So just stop talking about her. Maybe she'll go back to the woods and do what she's doing out there. But that's besides the point. Why the hell are we even talking about her? You know why? Because people would rather believe. God, I was trying to be done at 10 o'clock, but now y'all going to make me go into overtime. People would rather believe not just Republicans, but progressives would rather believe that there's something valid to the Uranium One Russian collusion vis-a-vis Hillary Clinton than the direct collusion with the Trump campaign. That's why we're still talking about it. And you all, I like all of you, love all of you, love you with the love of Christ, even if you don't want it. I love you like a brother and like a sister. But y'all are lost and stuck at this monument of opposition to Hillary Clinton, and you have not found your way past that, and you're still there because your entire last 2 years has been built around opposing Hillary Clinton. And now the person who gave you purpose, the person who gave you political purpose in life is no longer on the scene, and you've yet to find out how to live without her. I hate to psychoanalyze you all like that because I'm not a psychologist. But damn it, if I can't read people, and I'm reading right now how many people are still stuck in that place, just like the people we talked about tonight who are stuck in the place of anti-Trumpism. The opposition to Trump. They're stuck in that place and they can't see the forest for the trees. That really our job here in this place is not to try to undermine everything that comes out from the Mueller investigation, because that's what you're used to doing. That's what you're used to doing because you started off as a principled stance. No, our job right now is just report the goddamn news. Just report the news. Report the news and let this play itself out, because somebody's going to be embarrassed. When this is all said and done, this is why I have no, it's so beautiful I see why some people would rather try to play both sides, because you're never going to be embarrassed, right? It's easy to be right there in the middle because you'll never be embarrassed, because you don't care if it's a Democrat, you don't care if it's a Republican, you're not bought into this, you're not bought into that, you have no stakes in the game. I get it, because right now on this Russia thing, I have no horse in the race whatsoever. Somebody's going to be embarrassed. It's either going to be the Democrats, who have been putting so much energy and time into this, and there's probably nothing that can be proven as a matter of a legal thing, right, in terms of the letter of the law, such that they could prove beyond a reasonable doubt in a court. Or Donald Trump's going to be embarrassed, and there is something that they can prove, and somebody's going to go to jail besides Paul Manafort. Anybody who says that they know is saying it to you as a statement of faith, because nobody knows except the people who are doing the actual investigation. Tomorrow.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog, join the Progressive Army, and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.
It's Ben Dixon!
If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Consider becoming a Patreon. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.